There comes a time when a man must rise, not in haste, not with noise, but with the solemn thunder of purpose in his step. The world will tempt him with trinkets. It will whisper of fast power and quicker pleasure. It will say, take this and be worthy. But the man who knows his value does not barter his soul for applause. He stands still, and the world leans in to listen. You see, a high-value man is not fashioned by flash nor framed by fortune. He is carved by quiet hours, sharpened by failure, tempered in the fire of discipline and devotion. His currency is character, his wealth wisdom, his signature presence, and when he walks into the room does not tremble, but it remembers. So let us speak today, not just of riches, but of richness, not merely of influence, but of impact, not only of power, but of purpose. For in becoming a man of true value, one does not chase the crown. He becomes the ground on which kings and queens find their footing. In the quiet stir of the morning, before the clamor of the day has even begun to make itself known, there exists an inner quiet, a deep and persistent murmur that speaks of our true value. It is in this soft, almost imperceptible moment, when the world is still wrapped in dreams and the first light of truth creeps in, that we come face to face with the true measure of who we are. For inner worth, that hidden fountain of strength, is the very bedrock upon which our entire being is built. It is not the accolades of the many or the fleeting whisper of external praise that defines a man, but rather the knowledge that within him lies an unyielding reservoir of dignity and purpose. There is a beauty in knowing that our true essence cannot be bought, cannot be bartered, and cannot be replicated by the gleam of silver or the clink of gold. It is a quiet fire that burns steadily unthreatened by the storms of disillusionment or the winds of criticism. It is the inherent light of a soul that, like the soft glow of a lantern on a darkened path, guides us through the valley of our doubts and the peaks of our triumphs. In recognizing that our worth comes from within, we embrace a truth that is timeless, a truth that defies the harsh, often ruthless measures of a world preoccupied with superficial metrics of success. We learn that no matter the trials we face, the opinions that assail us, or the challenges that seem insurmountable, there exists within us an anchor of self-respect that nothing can erode. This inner worth is like a deep reservoir of water, calm on the surface, yet teeming with life and energy in its depths. It is nurtured by the recognition of our own strengths and tender imperfections alike, for it is in the weaving together of these elements that our unique tapestry is formed. Much like the delicate threads of a masterfully crafted quilt, every experience, be it joy or sorrow, adds texture and color to our, and it is this blend, this harmonious mix of triumph and trial, that forms the bedrock of a high-value man. His worth is not measured by the transient awards of society or the ephemeral applause of an audience, but by the enduring truth that he has risen, time and again, from the ashes of defeat to embrace the brilliance of his true self. In the silent embrace of midnight or the reflective calm of dawn, there often comes a moment one questions the reality of these qualities. It is then that the journey inward begins, a journey not marked by the swift pace of external conquest, but by the deliberate, patient unearthing of one's inner sanctum. Like a miner panning for gold in a quiet stream, one must sift through the sediments of self-doubt, the silt of fear, and the debris of past failures to discover the glittering nuggets of self-worth that have always resided within. It is a process that demands patience and kindness, a gentle coaxing of the spirit into realizing that what lies inside is not a mere fragment of a person's identity, but the very essence of their existence. In every beating heart, there is a legacy of resilience. It is written in the scars that form from wounds long healed and in the lessons etched into the fabric of the soul. This inner worth, the self-assurance, is cultivated in the quiet spaces where the mind learns to forgive and the heart dares to dream. It is an abiding testament to the strength that emerges when we stop seeking validation from the world and start nurturing the beauty of our inner life. For a man who has come to recognize the magnitude of his own worth does not need to announce his value to the world. His very presence, like a towering oak, speaks of deep roots and unyielding strength. It is a silent assertion that he is a confluence of struggles overcome and victories hard won, a mosaic of experiences that no external force can diminish. There is a kind of transformative magic in awakening to the realization that true power resides not in what we accumulate externally, but in what we hold dear within our heart. It is an awakening that compels us to nurture our passions, to defend our principles, and to walk forward with an unshakable belief in the worth that is innately ours. And when we anchor ourselves in this profound awareness, every challenge becomes an opportunity to further fortify our inner citadel. The world's judgments, however harsh they may be, become mere echoes that bounce off the resilient walls of self-respect. And in this space of inner abundance, every setback is transformed into a stepping stone toward a higher, more refined existence. This profound inner worth also reminds us that the journey of self-discovery is not one of isolation, but of connection. Though it originates in solitude, the clarity it provides invites us to share its light with those around us. It is in this sharing that the beauty of our inner wealth is multiplied. When a man recognizes his own value, he radiates a gentle strength that inspires others to seek out the same luminous truth in themselves. His presence becomes a beacon to those still wandering in the shadows of self-doubt, a quiet testimony that each life is a reservoir of potential waiting to be tapped. It is a call to action, a reminder that we are all worthy, regardless of the external measures by which society might try to define. In moments of quiet reflection, when the clamor of the outside world recedes into a distant murmur, we often find that the seed of our true power was never something to be earned from without, but something to be nurtured from within. It is an intrinsic attribute as natural as the rising sun and as enduring as the cycles of the moon. Every man possesses this inner compass that, when trusted, guides him through the labyrinth of life. And in its gentle, unfaltering pull, there lies the promise of realizing a life not dictated by the transient whims of fortune, but by a steadfast commitment to the values that reside deep in our own heart. To awaken to this truth is to break free from the chains of external validation and to step into a realm where the currency is self-love and the wealth is inner peace. In that sacred space, one finds a clarity of purpose that transcends the ephemeral allure of material success. It is in this inner sanctum that the real journey begins, a journey of discovery, of embracing the fullness of who we are, and of letting our light shine so brightly that it transcends even the darkest of night. Each moment spent in the honest pursuit of inner worth strengthens the foundation of our character, and it is this unwavering foundation that sustains us even when the winds of fate blow with relentless force, reminding us time and again that within lies a power that no external force can ever hope to diminish. In the stillness of a waking dawn, there lies a gentle, persistent power that often goes unnoticed amidst the clamor of grand gestures and bold declarations. It is a quiet strength, the power of discipline that whispers in the corridors of our inner selves and slowly shapes who we are. It is not the flash of instant gratification or the roar of a crowd's approval. It is a silent commitment that builds us brick by brick into the person we aspire to be. As the day unfurls its first light, we find that discipline is the soft yet unyielding force that bridges the gap between our dreams and the reality we live. It is a call to rise every morning with purpose, to hold ourselves accountable even when the allure of ease and comfort tempts us into inaction. Imagine a craftsman who works tirelessly on a masterpiece, each stroke deliberate, each detail refined with unwavering care. Discipline is that steady hand guiding our actions, not in pursuit of perfection, but in the persistent molding of our character. It is the quiet prayer said in moments of solitude that urges us to keep going despite The power of discipline does not demand immediate results, nor does it seek applause. It is its own reward, a testament to the inner fortitude that lies within. When we wake up and choose to face the day armed with a clear purpose and unwavering resolve, we honor the discipline that fuels our journey, even if the world around us still slumbers. There is a beauty in the gradual unfolding of our potential, a beauty that lies in the repetition of good habits and the small, steady steps that lead to transformation. True discipline is born from the willingness to confront ourselves daily, the shortcomings that we harbor, the fears that we let linger in the recesses of our minds, and to gently yet firmly push forward anyway. It is this soft insistence on doing what is right, regardless of how daunting the obstacles may seem, that creates a foundation strong enough to withstand the tempests of life. With discipline, every moment becomes an opportunity to cultivate mastery over ourselves. The simple act of choosing consistency over chaos transforms each day into a canvas on which we paint a portrait of our highest aspirations. The world may offer the seductive lure of shortcuts and easy victories, but those who truly understand the value of discipline know that nothing of lasting worth is achieved without the steady rhythm of commitment. In the quiet spaces between ambition and achievement, discipline is the metronome that sets the tempo. It provides the structure and rhythm to our lives, ensuring that our actions, though perhaps small on their own, add up to a symphony of success. In moments when the soul feels weary and the path ahead seems shrouded in fog, it is discipline that acts as the guiding light, revealing the smallest consistent steps can lead us to boundless heights. It is in these moments of steadfast perseverance that we come to understand that true strength is not in the force of a single moment, but in the cumulative power of many moments lived with intent. There is a quiet dignity in committing to daily actions that may seem mundane or insignificant at first glance. Every time we choose to rise above the impulse of instant comfort, we are cultivating a discipline that becomes a part of it. It is the discipline of setting an alarm to greet the day with gratitude, of dedicating time to learning even when distractions abound, and of pushing through the discomfort of growth because we recognize that the seed of our future self is being nurtured in those trials. This discipline, though modest in its daily appearance, is transformative in its long-term impact. It creates a ripple effect that extends beyond our personal growth, influencing those around us by example. When others witness the quiet determination we exhibit in our everyday lives, they too are reminded that greatness is often a whisper rather than a shout, a series of deliberate actions echoing far beyond the confines of the moment. The true power of discipline is like a river steadily carving its path through the hard rock of challenge and doubt. It flows with an unbreakable momentum, unperturbed by the obstacles it encounters. Much like a river does not lament the stones in its course, but simply embraces them as part of its journey, so too must we integrate the lessons of each setback into our path forward. With discipline, we learn to see adversity not as a block to our progress, but as a feature of the landscape that, when navigated with patience, leads us ever closer to the horizon of our potential. And in this quiet interplay between struggle and perseverance, we discover that true growth lies in the willingness to work diligently on our inner selves, refining, reshaping, and ultimately rising above our former limitations. Discipline calls for an unspoken agreement with ourselves, a promise that we will honor every commitment we have made to our aspirations. It is in the moments when no one is watching, when the mirror reflects back our weary yet determined face, that the profound impact of discipline is truly felt. It is when the road is long and obstacles seem to stand as sentinels of doubt that discipline becomes our steadfast companion. It is the deep underlying force that tells us to keep moving forward, even when the immediate rewards are elusive. In those quiet hours of solitude, in the moments of sweat and perseverance, discipline writes the story of our lives, not with grand proclamations, but with a steady, unyielding cadence that resonates long after the As we continue along the path laid before us, each day becomes a chapter in our evolving journey. Discipline offers us the opportunity to transform routine actions into profound rituals of self-respect and determination. Every small act, a decision to show up, to try again, to learn from a failure, is a brushstroke in the grand painting of our destiny. Even when our progress seems incremental, we come to recognize that it is the compound effect of these consistent actions that fuels our evolution. There is an inherent majesty in this quiet process. It is a testimony to the idea that true power lies not in forceful displays of strength, but in the gentle, deliberate cultivation of habits that elevate our character over time. In this reflective space, discipline becomes more than a tool. It becomes a way of life. It shapes our outlook, molds our priorities, and sets the stage for the kind of success that radiates from deep within. The quiet power of discipline is the inner current that carries us through life's most challenging storms. It is a resilient force that stays with us, subtly yet persistently guiding our every step. It teaches us that while external rewards may come and go, the quiet satisfaction of knowing we did our best, that we stayed true to our purpose, is the enduring measure of a life lived within. There is something sublime about the realization that, while the world may bustle and clamor for our attention, the most significant victories are those we achieve quietly in the unseen folds of our daily life. Discipline is the everyday decision to rise when we fall, to push beyond the familiar comfort of routine, and to embrace the honest, sometimes challenging work of self-improvement. And as we persist day after day, we become living testimonies to the power of a commitment not for the world's validation, but for our own fulfillment, a quiet defiance against the forces that would see us settle for less than our true potential. There exists an ancient truth in the way true respect is nurtured. It is not something that can be commanded or decreed from on high, but rather a treasure that grows slowly like a mighty tree nurtured by the rains of genuine character and the sunshine of humble action. In each quiet moment, in every subtle gesture, in every consistent act of kindness, respect takes root. It does not arise from the bluster of demands or the insistence of force, but from a life lived with dignity. To demand respect is to forget that the highest honor is earned by the integrity of one's actions, the strength of one's convictions, and the compassion that flows from within. For in the heart of every individual, there is the capacity to offer respect and to receive it in return. But it is only through the tender cultivation of self-worth and the constant commitment to honor others that respect flourishes like a garden tended with care. Consider the quiet man whose days are marked not by loud declarations, but by the soft, steady commitment to doing what is right, even when no one is watching. In his daily choices, whether small or grand, he sows seeds of respect that will one day bloom into a legacy of honor. It is in these moments, unadorned by the trappings of fame or fortune, that respect is most sincere. True respect is akin to a deep well of water, pure and untouched by the muddy currents of superficiality. It is earned not by proclaiming authority, but by allowing actions to speak, word by word and deed by deed, to those around us. It is a slow, deliberate process, much like the warming of clay under the gentle pressure of a potter's hands, molding it into a vessel that radiates beauty and function. In every encounter there lies the opportunity to either demand or cultivate respect, and when one chooses the latter, the transformation is profound. One learns that respect is an organic outcome of living in alignment with one's deepest value. It is the quiet nod from a stranger, the warm smile shared between friends, the steady glance of acknowledgement in the face of adversity. These are the signs that respect, genuine and unforced, has taken hold. It emerges in the way a person listens intently, speaks with measured grace, and carries themselves with the humble assurance of someone who understands that their worth is not dictated by external accolades, but by the goodness that permeates this. This kind of respect, tenderly nurtured over time, endures far beyond the momentary applause of a crowd. It becomes a part of the very essence of who we are. The process of growing respect is like watching a young sapling turn into a towering. It begins with the simplest act, a small gesture of kindness, a quiet word of encouragement, or an honest effort to treat another with fairness and empathy. These acts may seem inconsequential in the grand tapestry of life, yet they weave an indelible pattern of trust and regard. When we honor others through our actions, we create a space where respect can thrive. Each act of authenticity sows a seed that grows steadily, nourished by the understanding that respect cannot be forced into existence. It must be allowed to blossom at its own natural pace. And as these seeds take root and grow into robust expressions of honor, they invite others to do the same, creating a cycle of mutual appreciation that extends far beyond our immediate. There is a profound strength in choosing to cultivate respect rather than demanding it like a trophy to be won. The act of nurturing respect is an invitation to both lead and follow, to learn and to teach. It is in the humble realization that every person, regardless of their station in life, is worthy of dignity that we begin to truly honor each other. Respect becomes the quiet language through which we communicate our shared humanity, a language that speaks of solidarity in times of turmoil, of grace in moments of failure, and of the inherent worth that exists in each of us. It is a language that does not require a grand stage to be heard, for it resonates in the quiet corners of our everyday lives, echoing in the laughter of friends and the silent affirmations in the midst of struggle. A person who understands that respect is grown, not demanded, lives life with a gentle courage. They know that the force of their character is far more enduring than any coercion or power. Instead of insisting on respect as a right, they offer it freely, believing that the measure of a man lies not in the authority he wields, but in the warmth and understanding he extends to his fellow beings. This perspective transforms every interaction into a lesson on humility and graciousness. It reminds us that respect is a mirror reflecting back our most authentic selves, and that in the act of honoring others, we inevitably find ourselves elevated to new heights of empathy and wisdom. In the quiet mornings and the hushed evenings, when the world is at rest, the seeds of respect continue to grow. They germinate in the small, thoughtful moments of connection, a kind word, a listening ear, a quiet act of generosity. These moments, seemingly inconsequential, are the building blocks of a deeper and more resilient form of respect that cannot be easily shaken. They accumulate like layers of sediment, forming a solid foundation that supports every interaction and decision that follows. When respect is cultivated in this way, it becomes a force that transcends superficial displays of power. It becomes the essence of a life well lived, a life where every action is a testament to the value we see in both ourselves and those around. One cannot help but notice that when respect is allowed to flourish naturally, it radiates outward like the gentle glow of a well-tended flame. It warms those it touches and ignites a similar spark in their heart. There is a contagious quality to this respect, a way in which it inspires others to look within themselves and discover that they, too, are worthy of it. The act of nurturing respect is both a personal and collective journey, a quiet revolution that transforms the way we perceive ourselves and our place in the world. In a society that often mistakes loud demands for genuine authority, the true measure of respect is found in the silent conviction that emerges when we live with authenticity and compassion. To choose to cultivate respect rather than demand it is to embrace a path of continuous growth and quiet resilience. It is an acknowledgement that the most enduring forms of strength are not imposed by external force, but emerge from within, shaped by our choices, molded by our experiences, and reflected in every moment of sincere interaction. In this way, respect becomes not just a reflection of who we are, but a beacon for who we can become. It is a living proof of the power inherent in each of us to uplift, inspire, and transform the world around us through our unwavering commitment to living honorably every single day. In the gentle hum of everyday life, money often appears as the gleaming emblem of success, a shining beacon that many chase with fervor. Yet when we pause to consider its true nature, we realize that money is merely a tool, an instrument designed to assist us in our journey rather than crown us with authority. It is like the brush in an artist's hand, a means to create and illuminate visions born from within, but it is not the masterpiece itself. Money has the power to build bridges, support noble endeavors, and lift communities out of despair. Yet it remains secondary to the wealth of character that defines a man's true worth. There is a delicate irony in our society's fixation on monetary. We often equate financial accumulation with prestige, overlooking that the reserves of the heart and soul hold far greater importance than the numbers in an account. Money serves as a resource, a fuel that propels our ambitions, pays the bills of existence, and sometimes even opens doors to opportunity. But it is not the arbiter of our destiny. It can provide comfort and security, pave the way for innovation, and offer the chance to extend a helping hand to those in need. However, when we allow it to become the measure of our worth, we risk trading the priceless virtue of integrity for a shimmer of temporary satisfaction. There is a quiet grace in understanding this balance. The savvy man understands that money must remain a servant rather than a master. When money is embraced for what it truly is, it can be a powerful supporter in the quest for betterment. It can forge paths to education, create platforms for invention, and even be a vessel for generosity if used with wisdom and care. Yet if one becomes captivated by the allure of wealth, the truth becomes obscured. The relentless pursuit of riches for its own sake may yield an impressive tally of digits, but it often leaves behind an echoing void where true purpose and inner richness once dwelled. In the unfolding tapestry of life, money is woven as one of many threads, not the dominant hue. It can help sustain passions, nurture dreams, and provide the very stage upon which human creativity and love can perform. But its power is limited by its nature. It cannot instill values, mend broken relationships, or fill the soul with contentment. For every dollar earned or spent, there's an invisible debt paid in character and in the memories we forge by sharing our time, our kindness, and our truth. A man of true value understands that while money may assist him in his endeavors, it does not define him. Instead, he is defined by his actions, his commitments, and the quiet resilience that emerges in the face of life's challenges. Perhaps the most profound lesson comes when one encounters moments of choice, those crossroads where values and desires intersect. In these moments, the true measure of money's role is revealed. A man who wields money as a tool may choose to invest in education, support the underprivileged, or foster environments where creativity blooms. In doing so, he demonstrates that he values growth and connection over the superficial allure of wealth. By channeling resources into endeavors that uplift rather than isolate, he transforms money into a force for collective empowerment. And in that transformation, the man's own sense of purpose is enriched, echoing far beyond the immediate utility of the currency. Yet there is also a cautionary note in this tale, a reminder that when money assumes the role of a throne, it casts a long shadow over every virtue and aspiration. In the pursuit of wealth as an end in itself, one risks becoming ensnared in a cycle of endless craving, where the lust for more overshadows the beauty of being. The pressure to amass wealth can lead to compromises, diluting the very essence of character that once shone so brightly. The measure of a man, after all, is not found in the opulent halls of riches, but in the quiet moments of reflection, in the authenticity of his connections, and in the deep-seated peace that comes from living true to one's values. When we observe great leaders and visionaries, we see that their impact resonates far beyond the financial resources they command. Their influence lies in the strength of their convictions, the clarity of their purpose, and the warmth of their compassion. These individuals understand that money, regardless of its size or allure, is but a tool in the grand architecture of life. It can open a door, yes, but it is the inner fire, fueled by resilience and a commitment to honor, that ultimately shapes a legacy. It is the understanding that the most cherished possessions we can ever have are not those that can be held or seen, but those that are woven into the very fabric of who we are, a spirit of generosity, authenticity, and unwavering integrity. Each act of kindness, every moment of quiet sacrifice, sets in motion the kind of change that transforms not only the individual, but the collective experience of the community. In this way, living with a focus on legacy is an act of radical selflessness, yet it is also the path to the most authentic and profound form of personal fulfillment. The high-value man who chooses legacy over luxury finds that the path he walks is lined with the memories of those he has inspired and the strength of the ideals he has championed. His life becomes a testament to the truth that greatness is not inherited through the shallow trappings of wealth, but is cultivated in the rich soil of a life well lived. In every moment of resilience, every demonstration of empathy, and every gesture of genuine care, he writes his own timeless narrative, a narrative that cannot be bought or bartered, for it is composed of the sincere and yielding efforts to make the world a better place. This perspective invites a deep reflection on the nature of our ambitions. As days turn to years, the high-value man is reminded that the true legacy he leaves behind is not in the luxuries he accumulates, but in the lives he improves and the values he upholds. The choices he makes, often without fanfare or widespread recognition, add up to a life that radiates hope, encourages resilience, and offers a guiding light for those still finding. When the final chapters of his story are written, it will not be the glitter of transient success that is remembered, but the quiet, enduring warmth of a life dedicated to serving others. In the end, the measure of a man is found in the legacy of his goodness, not in the fleeting pleasure of luxury. This is the truth that fuels his daily determination, a flame that burns steadily in the heart, nourishing the dreams of future generations with every kind act and every thoughtful word. As he moves forward, guided by the conviction that greatness is built on the strength of character and a commitment to those unseen, his life becomes an eternal tapestry of hope and inspiration, woven with threads of integrity, compassion, and a devotion to leaving the world better than he found it.